Welcome back, Raven. On this last video for Operation Prep and part of the deployment cycle, this is the tactical scenes and how to make them. Again, we talked about it a little bit. Once you've gone through and you've listed the intelligence and you know what they can grab, they do grab what they have, you know the insertion point and they're going through it, you're going to have a general idea of really what's out there. Really, this is just meant to keep you focused on, okay, what might I be forgetting? Because sometimes in gaming, the tabletop becomes a very flat, one-dimensional environment. People tend to forget things. So this just kind of helps you with that. It's not really required, but again, it's a big help. So the first thing we do is you want to name, a clever title, right, related to something. Normally, it's something funny. My first insertion for Thunder Oak is, I call it Wet Willy, right, just because of the nature of the insertion points. Slight description, just the general time of day, what the weather is like right now, the very basics of, hey, so you can give this to the players, like, hey, here's what's happening. We're on the Little Bird. We're coming in, at 30 meters off the deck of the water, and you're gonna, it's 0230. It's cold as piss, and you're gonna be in the drink. So there's some things to keep in mind. Remember from your intelligence. So then you just think about the sensory input. What are the things you can see, hear, smell, and any occult thing? Like, is there any feelings, weird feelings, or foreboding, bad senses? If there's a cryptid in the area, do they have anything they give off? Anything weird? Just these are things that you don't need rolls for. It's just what would be common to the scene and what people would know. And again, it's just very common sense things. This is where you might start dropping, like, hey, in this warehouse, there's a laptop that can be hacked that leads to the cartel emails talking about, El Cardinal coming at them. So now that's a piece to begin where you're like, oh shit, El Cardinal and the cartel don't actually work together. Okay, interesting. But in things like that, so there's not a limit. Not every scene needs it. But it is handy to put those things in place so people can learn things. Likely skill checks, again, notice stealth, thievery, the usual suspects would be the most likely things. Just kind of have in mind, like, you don't want to be caught off guard, like when they ask a weird question. Electronics, hacking, those are all also viable in Task Force Raven. Combat notes is the last piece of a tactical scene, and it's things that can be used as cover. Is there like a retreat moment for Op 4? Try to have that in mind. You don't want everyone to just go to battle dying. That's just not normal, not natural. And there are people more than willing to surrender or run away. And is there a go no go for a reaction force? If Raven gets in a firefight and the other side, the Op 4 don't have suppressors, but they're being overwhelmed. What does that mean for law enforcement? What does that mean for a host nation military? They're going to eventually come in. You can set that timer. I usually set my timer depending on how loud everything is or what the host nation is. I may set it take a 4-sider, a D4, set it at a 4, and every combat round that goes by, just start turning it down, right? And then if something big happens, like explosion, turn it down twice. So there's always ways around that. And this is a good opportunity too for players to burn bennies on the narrative aspects of how to burn bennies. They say, hey, we're trying to lure them in a different direction, so maybe this delays, or I'm going to try my best to delay the inevitable reaction because we know it's coming. So the conversation we have at the table, but that's a good place for it. And that is it for tactical scenes. They really are. They're not that long, and you already have most of this built. Again, it's not railroading. It's just you want to be as prepared as possible when you sit down and players are expecting to gain intelligence and gather information and start doing all the cool things. Until next time, stay frosty.